What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC, USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 13th day of October today, and here we are at about $114.6 thousand right now, coming up a little bit from the lows that we had earlier last week on, what was that, on Friday? Yeah, that was on Friday. Nice day yesterday, nice daily close there. We had a bullish engulfing candle from Saturday's close. Sunday providing a pump for us yet again. However, I think this time we're left with a gap, a CME gap to the upside, not to the downside. Let's see, Bitcoin futures. We look at this here, and yes, we do. We do have a gap to the upside as of today. So there is a gap to be filled at about 117K. With that being said, it's completely possible that we do go lower. A lot of people might assume that we're going to fill this gap, but I don't think we will, right? The reason why this gap didn't get filled, even though the price did go below 110K, it went below these lows here, is because it happened over the weekend whenever the stock market was not open, right, during closed hours. So I don't think we're going to fill this gap. I think that's going to be a trap laid in for any bears right here that still think that we have lower to go. It's possible that we do, and let's actually make a case out for going down to a 110K price and below, because it is quite possible that we do. If we look at this on the all-time history index, and we go on the weekly chart here, you can see last week closed with a pretty massive wick to the downside there. We look at the last time we had a massive wick to the downside, it was this week, and what do we do the very following week? We actually filled most of that wick. Then we still went lower. That wasn't the low, but we shortly thereafter found our low and then moved up higher, right? I do believe this is the low. I don't believe we go lower than that price of like 105K, 102K on some exchanges. I don't believe that we go too much below 110K if we are to go below 110K at all. But like this week here, we didn't fill it the next week, but inevitably came back down to fill part of it, right? So can we come back down to fill part of it? Are we doing that already? Is that what's happening now? Like, I mean, if we're looking at it here, have we not already filled part of the wick by doing this right here, moving down? I don't know. That's my thought right there. But then we can go back in time further and look at these massive wicks. Right, here's a massive wick, pumped, came back, filled it. We already went over that one. My bad. Here's a pretty massive wick. We filled it, relatively speaking, but that was in the bear market. Let's go back to the bull market of this cycle and see. Not really any massive wicks there. We did fill this one the next week, right? The COVID wick. This one here, pumped, recovered, but inevitably came back to fill it. Didn't go below it, still found support. Inevitably, did go below, but you're in a bear market situation. I mean, there's wicks that we didn't come back to fill. There's wicks that we did come back to fill just like weeks later. I'm curious to see what happens here. I don't know why this chart says that the price opened up at 111K, because I don't think, yeah, if we're looking at the daily time frame, we didn't go to 111K today at all, and this is the beginning of the new week, so I don't know what the index chart for some reason is weird. Let's just go to Coinbase. It might give us a better representation. Yeah, something like this. That way it actually looks real. um, but I do believe that we'll see a little bit of turbulence. I do believe that we're moving higher. I don't believe that we're going to go below this low, but the idea that we go down to fill this gap at about 110K, I think that's going to be the main driving kind of force for the bears to still be bearish here. Is that there's a gap there that we have to fill. We're not going to move up until the gap's filled, and then the bulls will say, "But there's a gap to the upside. We got to fill that gap." But I think this gap's more likely to be filled, but it's not because there's a gap there. It's because Bitcoin's unstoppable. It's going to move up higher. We have higher lows. You know what I mean? I think that's really the takeaway there. I'm actually curious as to what this from a low to a high. We went right down to the golden ratio, and the golden ratio held right at the golden zone there. It's perfect, literally perfect. If we're looking at this on a 1 hour time frame, let's zoom in. I would assume that we see some bullishness because, again, I am. If you guys remember my video that I recently made on Bitcoin, uh, the one that I most recently made, I was talking about the price going back up to about 115K or more, maybe up as high as 120K. We did get to 160K and rolled off a little bit. I'm curious to see if this move continues, or do we come back down? Do we see a lower low? Let's look at the 1 hour time frame and figure that out. Okay, so here we are looking at this now. The RSI is bullish, right? We shifted from a bearish, very broad downtrend here, dating back to like the 29th of September, actually, really. I mean, maybe if you don't like that, then maybe the 1st of October or the 3rd of October. Somewhere in this range is when it started, but I feel like looking at it here, lower lows, lower highs, it looks like it started all the way back there. We've just broken out of that recently. We're finding support here now at a very similar area that we found support at before and throughout this range, right? We found support right here, kind of, right there. Little turbulence in this area here, support back here. Typically, you would expect if you're finding support around the 50 and you just got overbought, you'd expect to return to that overbought zone. Let's see if we do get overbought or if we reject it. If we reject it, that could promote the idea that we go lower. If we get overbought again, well, maybe we hang out in this area for a little bit and continue to rally. That'd be nice to see. 1 hour stochastics. Now, the stochastics bouncing here is a bit odd, in my opinion. Typically, you don't bounce right here. I mean, if we look, where do you typically bounce? It's not here. It's not at this line, right? It's lower. It's in the oversold zone. I can't really even find one example. We bounced right there, kind of odd. We bounced right there. All right, there you go. It happens. It's not that it can't happen. It's just that it doesn't happen often, and it's very unlikely to happen. But, you know, if that stochastics is, it's on the 1 hour time frame, it's less reliable, let's just say. The RSI is in an area to bounce. That's good enough for me. I'd use that over the stochastics. And the MACD is cross red, but overall it's bullish. You cross above the zero, signaling that you're ready to do something different, I think. Let's look at I want to take the high here to the low here and just see if we're respecting it. It looks like we're respecting it pretty well. Found some resistance at the 382, came back to the 236, disrespected this a little bit, but you're respecting this area pretty well. I would think your next target area is $118.5 to $120,000, somewhere right in there, testing this prior area of support, perhaps something like that. Let's put lines right there and just see if they come in line with anything else. I did not mean to put this one up here. There we go. We'll delete this. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, there's one more thing I want to do actually. I want to look at this versus this low. You're respecting that pretty well too. That would call for move down to 113.4K, and then we move up. And then these lines are actually pretty close to this golden ratio as well. 4 hour time frame here. I mean, it looks like a significant enough area, right? This is the area that we found resistance at back whenever we did have 122K as our all-time high back in July, and we consolidated here. We found resistance and support there. It's a pretty significant zone. That actually might be exactly where we move up to and we stop, giving us a little ABC correction within this downtrend maybe. I like it. Looks good. 4 hour time frame, nice. We've broken out of our downtrend on the RSI. Love to see it. That's great. So typically whenever you break a downtrend, you look to get into the overbought zone. If we were to reject the 50, I think we would have done it already. We had ample opportunity over the past day to do so, and we just didn't do it. We had a nice move up instead. Decent volume coming in. Even for the weekend. Stochastics look bullish. And the MACD looks, I mean, bearish overall, but there's a bullish case to be made here. And I mean, if we just keep moving up, we keep the pace up, we should be seeing, you know, maybe tomorrow, Tuesday or Wednesday, we should be seeing Bitcoin really come to life. So if tomorrow and Wednesday are good, that would actually give us a strong chance to see new all-time highs, perhaps earlier than I was originally thinking. But let's just stay grounded first. Let's just focus on the next step ahead of us. Okay, right now the next step is 120 to 118K. Okay, that's what I feel most confident about. It makes a lot of sense, right? It's our prior support zone kind of right here. It's just above this prior resistance zone, which maybe we stop a little bit below this area, but I would think that we do hit this zone right here where we found support, right here where we found a lot of turbulence as well. It just looks proper, in my opinion. I think that would be the area that we go to next. But we'll see. Time will tell. Looking at the daily time frame, bouncing in the same areas that we bounced from every damn time since June of this year, right? Literally, it's just like this level has been holding us up as support right here. And then even back here, you kind of held this level as well, and then back there as well. It's likely that we do hold this zone. The stochastics are bouncing right off the oversold zone, which if I'm being fair on a daily time frame, this is actually a really good look. That's actually a phenomenal look. I wonder, can we find the last time that your blue line tipped the oversold zone like that? Not like getting into it, but literally like tipping it. Let's just see. Oh, that's very close, but no cigar. I want it to be like perfect. Picture perfect. That's close too, but no cigar. Where are you? Right there. Boom. Okay, let's see. What happened the last time we had a setup like this? Because again, it's not common. It's very uncommon. Let's just see. October 2022. Oh, this is not going to go over well. This is not going to go October. I know. I've played these games before. Let's see. October 2022. Look at that. The last time that you bounced off your oversold zone. Nice move up. Even in the midst of a bear market. Even in the midst of a bear market, right? You did come down, but don't focus on that part so much because we are in a bull market now. It's a little bit different. But the main focus is that the move that ensued afterwards was a pump, right, over the coming days. So just showing that this really is a powerful signal. And there are moments where you bounce off this area and then you come back down, but let's see if we can uphold, our end of the bargain here. Oh, look at that. We actually did bounce right here and then came right back down as well. Just for an example, right there. And what did we see? We saw a slightly lower low. I wouldn't think, but this is in relevance to this low. I wouldn't think that we go lower than this low, but we could go lower than that low, in which case there is a case to be made to go below 110K, but I just don't see it on the 4 hour or the 1 hour yet. The daily time frame also with the RSI looking like this, stochastics looking like this, and the MACD being in this kind of upward trajectory overall. Higher lows here. Maybe we could go a little bit lower, but then come up. If today's green, in which it's red right now, but if today closes here, or even if it closes green, the MACD, because it's a lagging indicator, it likely comes down. Why do I keep doing this? I'm sorry, guys. The MACD likely comes down to touch this line still. Like, we could even close today somewhat green. Just as long as we're not moving up a phenomenal at a fantastic pace today, this MACD could come down and touch this, the blue oscillator at least could come down and touch this line here. It doesn't need to. It would just look nice, but really just to provide that we are finding support at this and then showing significance at that there. But even if we just find support here, I think that that's fine, right? If we cross screen here, I'm not going to have any problems with that. We still have higher lows overall. We're still in an uptrend. We're in the area where you'd expect to bounce. We're in the area where you'd expect to bounce on the MACD on the daily time frame. We're in the area that you'd expect to bounce on the stochastics on the daily time frame. We're in the area that you'd expect to bounce on the RSI on the daily time frame. The daily time frame is the most significant time frame that we've covered so far in this video. And you had a very significant reversal candle there on a Sunday. Beautiful. It's nice to get a pump on a Sunday that doesn't leave you with a gap below, right? There's no CME gap because we dumped so much already over the weekend. That's actually a really nice recovery phase. I am kind of curious. I wonder how many weekends that we had that were red and then we had a green Sunday. I wonder how many of those following weeks were green. I wonder that. I can't look that up. I don't want to bore you guys by doing the homework right now, but it's a thought that I have. Maybe I'll do that whenever I have my own time. Weekly time frame here. The weekly RSI is just waiting, man. I have to admit, right, back here, I remember back in May, guys, we were talking about every time that we get overbought, every single time we go above the 80, we're overbought for weeks, for months at a time, like 2 months. It's like 7 weeks or more of just glorious pumping nonstop. And the last 2 attempts we've had have just been disappointing. My thoughts are, once we get overbought, it's going to make up for that. It's not going to be disappointing. We're probably going to see the strongest readings on the weekly RSI that we've seen since 2024. And maybe even this whole cycle. Overall, it's a very bullish RSI. It's just neutral here with a bullish effect. Stochastics are ugly. They look ugly here, but still overall bullish, to be completely fair. And the MACD is overall bullish as well. Yes, you've got some red building into your week here, into your histogram, but that's okay, right? You've got higher lows in your histogram, higher lows in your price. I think you're fine overall. Typically with this MACD, whenever we flip red, we do consolidate for a few months. We thought that this would be the one time that the MACD crosses red and that we come back up, but it looks like here we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks later, and we're still consolidating. It's looking like this MACD has been very reliable. That might be something to just stick in our back pocket for a later date. Anytime we cross red on the MACD, just pay attention to it. It typically means multiple months of consolidation are ahead. I don't care how many months of consolidation we're behind. Multiple months are ahead of consolidation as well. Maybe the next one won't be like that. The rules are going to change, guys. A lot of these rules, a lot of these things that have meant bad things, they might change going forward because we're going to see this spectacular blow-off finale phase. That's my thoughts. The rules are going to be different. They're going to be less coherent, but it's going to be more bullish and like gravity defying, but we'll see. 114.5K now. The expectation is, grand conclusion at the end of this video, is that we don't go below this low. Okay, we likely do not go below $107,000. We have a chance to go below 110K, yeah, I would say so, or at least down around that area. That doesn't mean that we do, but there's a chance, a small chance. So here we are at 114.6K. Now, if we go below 110K, don't panic. Do not panic. That is the panic drop, right? Understand, with everything that's happened right now, people are kind of primed, okay? We're waiting to see right now. And if we move down to 110K, that's enough for people to think, oh, well, I waited and saw. Now we're going to zero. Now the bull market's over. No. We could go there, find support like right at 109K, and then move up. So definitely don't panic, sell at the lows, okay? If we go below this low, it might be time to restructure our thoughts, okay, on this market and how it's going so far. Maybe we will turn bearish if that's the case. But if we start pumping, same thing. Don't get too excited. We might pump up to 120K, 119K, 118K, somewhere in that zone, even 121K. We could pump up to this area and then come back down and kind of consolidate. Typically, after moments like this, you do get some volatility, but then you kind of chill for like a week or two or months even, and then you move up. So I'm not expecting any new all-time highs anytime soon. I don't think anybody is, though, to be completely fair. And in which case, maybe that's the best move, is the move that nobody's expecting. Let's see. Let's look at the crypto fear and greed index real quick. If it wants to. 40. Okay, so we're at a neutral again. So a little bit of optimism coming back in the markets. That's nice to see. How's the stock market doing, actually? Let's see, because we theorized, right? Oh, are they not open yet? I think they open in 15 minutes. Okay, so we'll know soon enough. Right? Yeah, it's not open yet. Do we have early hours? No. What about MSTR? Is MSTR? Is it because it's a holiday, so it won't have that? I know that it's a holiday and the stock market's going to be open. Okay, in the pre-market, MicroStrategy's up. I would assume the rest of the market's going to be up too. Not MicroStrategy doesn't dictate the rest of the market. I would just think if that thing's up pre-hours, then maybe maybe the rest of the market will be too. What about is the Russell? Let's just see. Okay, the Russell's up. Russell's up, you guys. Yeah, Russell's up. I think the markets are going to be fine. I really do. Friday dumped for the Russell too. Wow, I didn't see that. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, massive gap up here. I think everything's going to be fine. My thoughts are, again, I think that a lot of people assume this to be a couple of things, right? The reason why we dropped. And some people think it's the tariffs. Once we open up with or without the tariffs being implied, and I think that we are going to see tariffs on November 1st on China. Trump said that yesterday. I think that with or without it, it doesn't matter. The tariffs are fine, right? Tariffs we know are actually good for our economy. They're actually good for the United States. We so much so that we're going to get stimulus checks because of how good it's been going. We've been raking in hundreds of billions of dollars through tariffs. So I don't think that it's going to be a problem tariffing one of the largest economies for us. It hasn't been a problem thus far, right? The only problem has been people's perception of it, right? And people are afraid of it. But I think now that the smart money, the institutional money, the people who are aware of these things, I think they're aware that tariffs are actually good, or that they're a non-factor at least. And I would assume that we do move up once the stock market shows positivity in its price action in like the next 15 minutes. By the time most of you guys watch this video, if not all of you, by the time the stock market opens up, I would assume that we actually do move up. So that's actually nice to see. That implies then that what we were looking at here on the 1 hour time frame, we will probably bounce. We will probably move up. I doubt that we move lower, right? Or that we move too much lower. The 4 hour time frame here, we are going to continue to move up, push into that overbought zone. Stochastics are going to stay bullish, and so will the MACD. And then the daily time frame, providing that we're at an area to bounce on all three of these indicators, I think it's going to be right. It's going to hold true. I really do think that we're going to see $120,000 price today to let's say 118 to 121, somewhere in that kind of range there. Okay, I think that we're going to see that today by the end of the day. So I got nothing else. Make your bets, guys. Hopefully, you're ready for whatever coin's going to pump here today, because I think the whole market's going to probably have a good day today. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care, bye-bye.